Hey y'all, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate and we're Real Estate Elevated, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a counterpart that I work with on a regular basis. How do you pick a good lender? So first of all, the word good is subjective, so understand that these are just some guidelines in order to kind of flesh out if that person is a good opportunity for you and it's going to be a good partner, because obviously this is one of the biggest purchases you will ever make in your entire life. So you want to make sure that this individual is up to snuff and ready for the project at hand. So here's a couple of good things to just be mindful of and even some questions to ask as you're vetting this potential person that you're going to be partnering with. So first of all, you want to make sure they understand North Carolina real estate. A lot of folks that are moving here from other states might have national lenders that they really want to work with. Some of those guys are top notch, they're phenomenal to work with, but I have found that a lot of our national guys don't really understand North Carolina real estate. One of the biggest ones is due diligence. Due diligence sounds like a made-up thing, especially the fact that it has to sit with the seller. So just ask them a couple of questions about maybe how often they've worked with North Carolina or what's been their experience. Has there ever been a hiccup that they came across that they were able to resolve? So just ask some, secondary underlying questions. The second one that again comes back to understanding North Carolina, we do not have a finance contingency here. What that means is that if you don't have the funds on closing day, even though it may be your lender's fault, you are still on the hook for that contract. Meaning, you can walk away if you don't have the funds, but you're going to lose your earnest deposit and your due diligence deposit, and that's not a fun process to go through. It's definitely a hit to your wallet, especially if it's not your fault. So you do want to ask your lender about their understanding of the finance contingency and how good they are at meeting those deadlines. All right. The other thing, speaking of deadlines, is how quickly can they close? Some lenders, especially certain institutions, have like a minimum number of days that they can close. An average we see currently here in North Carolina, which keep in mind at the time this was recorded, it's May of 2024. So the average is about 30 days, right? So can your lender close faster than that, or do they need longer? Now, keep in mind some loan products do require above that 30-day mark, like jumbo loans. Sometimes if you're not portfolioing it, you might need 45 days instead of 30, or some government-backed loans, those appraisals take a little bit longer because you need a special type of appraiser. So it could be 40 days. So just make sure you're talking through that, because these are terms we need to know when we're writing a potential contract. Also, speaking of contract writing, a lot of times this happens on the weekends or in the evenings. Ask your lender if they are available after hours. For some of you, that may not be a big deal. Maybe this is not your first rodeo and you feel very comfortable just getting that pre-qual letter and then making decisions from there. But for those of you who are moving to North Carolina for the first time, or you're a first-time home buyer, it might be nice to know if that person is accessible. And if they are, is it by phone call, text message, email, carrier pigeon? Like, how are you supposed to get in touch with them if you want to get a quick little rundown on closing costs or what the monthly payment would be on this house, or just to kind of get some reassurance that this is within your budget. The other thing too is how they communicate in general. You want to make sure that that method is well understood, as well as the turnaround on response time. Sometimes that like slow turnaround can actually delay you putting out offers and potentially even make you miss the opportunity on that home. The other thing is what type of loan products they actually offer. So as I was mentioning earlier and fleshing out the number of, closing days and stuff that you have, you also want to make sure that they might have a particular loan product that's available to you for being something, whether it's the physician's loan that we've talked about in other videos, or you're a first-time home buyer, or you might be a teacher. Any of these things with certain institutions and certain mortgage brokers, it might actually open up other products that are only available to you. So definitely ask about those. And then you obviously want to ask if there's any type of discounts or programs that they're offering. Are there costs that they're willing to pay that maybe the other guys aren't throwing in? Always ask the big question, as we've said previously, if I'm getting this, then what? Because you want to make sure you're not getting something to then give kind of a pound of flesh back. And then lastly, ask them about their experience. While folks who are newer to the game still might be great folks to work with, you do want to make sure that the person you're working with is prepared for stuff to go sideways. Real estate, I would love to say, is rainbows, puppies, and sunshine all the time, guys, but it's not. Stuff happens, and typically it's really unusual, weird scenarios that you only see once or twice in your career. because real estate keeps you on your toes. You want to make sure that your lender is well prepared to be able to handle those types of scenarios. So hopefully this quick little list will help you vet the next lender that you're choosing to work with before we jump into a deal. I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate, and we'll see you on our next episode.